Shadow Warrior 3 is a game that has incredible aspects to it. The combat is very well designed and huge fun with a solid amount of platforming mixed in. It truly succeeds at what it set out to do and is one of my favorite games of the year. First, let's get things I don't really care about out of the way. The story is very forgettable and not worth talking about. The game also tries to do some comedy and it's very hit or miss. Sometimes it's complete cringe and sometimes it can at least make you smirk a little. The graphics look very good at times and are overall great throughout. But none of these things weigh much on the game since it's the gameplay that really matters here. Shadow Warrior 3 is very similar to Doom Eternal, which is a game I love. And if you really enjoy Doom Eternal, there's a good chance that you will like Shadow Warrior 3 as well. The movement in both games is very similar with both a double jump and a dash. Shadow Warrior 3 also adds in a wall run and an automated grapple hook, but both can only be used in very specific laid out spots, which is a shame, but still at least you can do them. The platforming itself is actually quite simple, but smooth and fast enough to be an alright breakup from the combat, but it becomes an issue when replaying the game because some platforming sections can go on for longer than they should, but that's just a small problem. The levels in the game are all great with very memorable design, beautiful landscapes, and some action set pieces thrown in there for good measure. Arenas have environmental traps that you can activate for your advantage, and all of that is just really great and well designed. The combat itself relies on very similar mechanics to those in Doom Eternal. You kill enemies for health and kill smaller fodder enemies for ammo, but what makes me so happy is that Shadow Warrior 3 does things in its own style instead of just blindly following Doom Eternal and becoming just a basic clone of Doom Eternal. Instead of glory kills for health, enemies will just drop health on death, and instead of using a chainsaw to get ammo, you slice through enemies with a katana, which feels so satisfying to do and is so fun. These very simple changes make the game feel so much more different and so much more special. The game also has this very unique mechanic called glory kills. You fill up a bar from getting kills on enemies and then use it to insta-kill an enemy and get a super powerful weapon that just obliterates the rest of your arena. It's a very fun and helpful mechanic that you will use a lot, and you can even use it on the smaller enemies to quickly get health from them if you really need it. When it comes to arena shooters, the arsenal of weapons is very important to get right. Each weapon needs to have a purpose in combat, and Shadow Warrior 3 nails that, but with one exception. That exception is the Outlaw, which is the first weapon you're given, and it's kinda useless after the first level. It's just a weak pistol that doesn't stand out in any way, but at least the rest of the arsenal is incredible. The Riot Gun is a very powerful shotgun that when fully upgraded, it can become one of the strongest weapons in the whole arsenal, and especially in close range. The sidekicks are a pair of SMGs that are really good for killing smaller enemy hordes. The Crimson Bull is a badass grenade launcher that is useful on almost any enemy. The same can be said for the Basilisk, which destroys any enemy it's pointed at with incredible satisfaction and efficiency. Last is the Shuriken Spitter, which is great for stunning certain foes so they stand still while you unload damage on them. All of the weapons are hella fun to use and they never disappoint. And just like in Doom Eternal, you can weapon swap to create chaotic combos of destruction. But in Shadow Warrior 3, you are pushed towards that weapon swapping much more than in Doom Eternal because it auto-reloads your guns. So with every clip you fire, you should swap to skip the reload animation, which is a great mechanic as weapon swapping is fun as hell, but normally most people wouldn't do it. So thankfully Shadow Warrior 3 pushes it forward. Enemies are another important thing to get right in arena shooters, and once again, something that Shadow Warrior 3 nails. All of the enemies attack very differently and are killed very differently. You got the fodder enemies like Shogai and Kugutsu. The Oni Hanma are melee tanks that chase you down. The laser Shogun are incredibly deadly and have to be chi blasted before you can kill them. The Mogura burrow into the ground and occasionally pop up to do some damage. The Seeking Shogara just fly around and are a complete nuisance to deal with. The Slinky Jaku run around setting traps. The Hattori block most attacks till their guard is broken. The Guruma stay mostly stationary while throwing bombs around the arena. And finally, the Obarian, which are just big bullet sponges with machine guns. All of these enemies attack you very differently and are best killed with different weapons, which means you are incentivized to use your whole arsenal instead of just your two favorite weapons. The game also has 2 bosses, one in the middle and one right at the end, which are both quite good. They have different attacks, multiple phases, and are a solid challenge. Nothing that special, but a good addition that makes the whole pie of the game just a bit sweeter. Now, let us discuss the biggest problem that the game has, and that's the length and the amount of content. Shadow Warrior 3 is about 5 hours long on your first playthrough, and on my third playthrough, I skipped all cutscenes and finished it in just under 4 hours. And yet, they're still charging $50 bloody for this shit. Thankfully, I was able to play it on PS Now, which, if you are able to play on PS Now, that's the way I recommend going for it, as you don't have to pay $10 and you can easily finish it in a month. But still, it should not be this high of a price, and there should be way more game in there. When it comes to extra side content, the game has some collectible upgrade orbs in every level to collect, as well as a hard and hardcore mode, and also a special mode called Hero Mode, but overall it's lacking in extra content, and all of this can be done really quickly, and even platinuming the game doesn't take much effort or time. Originally, the game didn't have a chapter select or a new game plus mode, which was a huge spot of critique for me, as you had to start a new game from the beginning once you finish your playthrough, but they now added a chapter select so you can play whatever level you want and also go find the upgrade orbs you might have missed. It's not perfect, as early levels where you didn't have all the weapons still don't give you all the weapons, but that's not something that pushes me towards a large amount of hate. It's fine like this. Overall, Shadow Warrior 3 is an 8 out of 10. I found it to be as much fun as Sifu and Elden Ring, and I had a complete blast playing it during all my playthroughs. Arena shooter fans will be really happy with what they got here. I just wish it was a couple hours longer and a couple dollars shorter. Thank you for watching, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time. Farewell, everyone.